This is my specimen, right? Let me show you my specimen. This was my specimen that I have. There you are. Is that there? Yeah. But this is my specimen. Yeah. But I have drawn it. You see, you can go out and get some. And anybody would think, well, this is botanical art. Well, it is, I suppose. And here it is. This is what I'm going to attempt to do. I made it bigger because it's far too small. So it's really maybe 1.5 or 1.125. That's what it is. So this is a specimen that I was working from. And what I'm going to do, I used about 2 pencils, a mechanical pencil. I don't know how many people use a mechanical pencil. I find that 0.3 or 0.35, it is very, very, very good. It's very fine. I don't have to keep sharpening. And of course, I have a special pencil because my work is going to be done. This is drafting film, which is a... Can you see my fingers underneath? This is drafting film. So this is not an ordinary paper. But this is the plastic paper I said I'm going to use. But of course, if I use an ordinary, even if I use a 6H, which is a very hard pencil, it will appear there that I'm using B+ or something like that. So I have a special pencil, but I decided to do it with this one as well. And then I decided to put some lichen on it. I will, yes.
Was the hardness of the pencil?
This is hard because I can, yes, and this one gives me this darkness here, and this is done with this pencil. And I have, that's right. So I'm really using a hard pencil, and I'm using a special drafting film pencil, but you don't need to really. But you have to have in mind that it will smudge a lot. And this is my eraser, quite often. See that? Why I have that is because I don't lose it. This is my eraser. Can you see how fine it is? This is an eraser. Yeah. Failing that, I cut my erasers in small pieces. So this is what it is, my eraser. And being like that, I know exactly where it is at all times. I have a piece of blue tack, usually a very soft eraser that I can do what I like with it, and I couldn't find it today, so I have blue tack. If you use too much blue tack, it will leave a little bit of oil behind it at times, but this is what I have, and that's it. And then you notice I use a very soft cloth. A lot of artists will use tracing paper because I don't want to transfer the oil from my hand on anything else. And yesterday, as I was doing it, I thought I touched it by mistake, and then it was all over everywhere. So that's why I put this. But this is a habit I have, and it's a good habit. So really what I've done, I have drawn it. I have done the shading. Is it showing? Oh, right, so I can see here. I've done the shading, and I put some lichen there. This is the color it was yesterday. And then, of course, I don't have to, but I thought it will make it more interesting because the colors are so beautiful. So this is mixed media, obviously. So what I'm going to do, I only left a little bit to do, and I'm going to take no notice of that because that's very distracting. So really, where's my specimen? There it is. Just pretend you're not there. And of course, the drafting film allows you to remove everything. So what I do, I have to put the lines first. And most of the time I use other glasses on top of my glasses, but it doesn't matter. I mean, this is a hard pencil, and it comes out so black. It's unbelievable.
What number is this pencil?
0.35. Nothing.
It's H.
H, that's right, yes. And then I've got a 4H as well here, and this is for drafting film, and I will use this one, and you will see how this is equally as soft. It's a little bit harder, but if you used 4H on an ordinary piece of paper, it wouldn't show like this at all. But yes.
It would be much lighter and hard to use.
Yes, that's right, much lighter. Yes, that's right. So your pencil has to be very sharp. I brought several sharpeners, and I don't have much to do here because really I want to just do other things as well. What I'm doing here, I'm separating the top twig from the bottom by shading, really. And my blue tack to remove some of that. You see, but by putting the shading here, it's lifted this one up here, this twig. This is nice because it moves it.
Do you sometimes get carried away in the shading or not?
Yeah?
You do.
You do, yes. And then if you have the right tools, and if you're very light, then you can actually erase it. It's quite easy. If you're very heavy-handed, then you can't. Then I noticed, you see, that here is quite a lot of dark marks. Actually, it's woodworm that it's got holes on it. And you have to just put a few here and there. But yes, you mustn't be carried away to put things you don't need to.
But for example, the holes that you did there, you did them in a random manner. You didn't really,
So then,
or you counted and
Yes.
you are exactly precise.
well, no, it isn't, because really I have to concentrate to do that.
To do that. Okay,
Yes.
but you
It's not for
actually
identification.
Copy.
Yes, for
You're trying
botanical
to
illustration,
copy,
yes,
yeah.
that's
Okay,
right.
yeah.
If you're doing a specimen with a lot of leaves, the leaves at the front have to be as they are, but the leaves at the back, you must do less veins, less color, so they can go away. So yes, so really, yes, it's quite a lot. By putting these little holes, it shows the wood is old.
Okay.
You see, so otherwise people are going to think that it's fresh wood, but it isn't really. So, but you don't need to put everything, because then you can put too
And
many.
would you measure the actual specimen
Yes,
you have
yes,
first,
yes.
and then you would copy it
Yes,
on paper?
that's right. Yes, this is measured here.
Okay, so it's exactly the
Well, exactly, but then I decided to put, because I broke one or two in the
Okay,
meantime. Yes, but this is not for identification. This is for what we're going to do.
application is in the different parts.
It's a different, but that's right, yes. But what I'm showing here is that the wood is old, the wood has holes in it, and it really makes a pattern. But then I decided to use a pencil, which is very, very sharp. See that sharpness? Mm-hmm. It's got to be like needle-like pencil. So I'm going to do the lichen, which really, if you tried to do this lichen in watercolor, it would be very difficult. But once I've drawn it, it's really quite easy and very effective. I want the lines to stay because otherwise it's going to...
It's not going to be recognizable without...
Yeah, so you do it because it's nice. And then I will put a darker color on it. It's just... no, so of course it's not strictly botanical illustration, but if I knew what it was, I would then find the diagnostic features and make sure I put them there. Now, my pencil is very fine, otherwise I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing here. It's just really a pretty picture, but that's how I work on my real work.
So as a botanical illustrator, you first have to study really hard.
Yes.
The specimens before actually you have to know the structure, the different parts, and then highlight those parts.
Yes, they have to be. If you see my illustrations, what I have, they're diagnostic features, but I do tend to put more because I like to give more information to people. So if I take a harder pencil, I brought something really easy because I knew you wouldn't want me to spend hours and hours. The idea is to show you that you can mix colored pencil with graphite or colored pencil with pen and ink, or you can do works on their own. So really, I decided to do more than very little. So I just think this is quite pretty. But it gives the general idea of what it is, and that is actually correct as well.
Which part of the whole process do you enjoy the most? The actual, this part or the research or?
Oh, the research is really interesting. The research is the most important one for me. The research is more important for me. But then when I've drawn it and I finished it, then you're downhill then. You've done the most difficult parts, yes. So.
But the satisfaction comes from the whole process, I guess?
Yes, that's right, yes. You really get lost in what you're doing, and you don't want to do anything else really. So it's a lot of sitting down. And you have to remember when you're doing that to look up every so often to rest your eyes. Otherwise you're going to get problems with your eyes by just doing this all the time. So I'm doing little ellipses, which is just runs like that with very sharp pencil because this is very small. And so I shall do some green as well because there are green ones. When you put the water down, this morning I put some water and the ends were green because of the algae. But of course you mustn't put too many because it's going to look artificial really. And I'm using colored pencil, and that is oil and wax mixed together, and they're quite soft. A lot of work that I do, I need hard pencils. I can't do everything with soft pencils. So, because I don't want to put too many colors in here. It's already actually looking, it looks alive, I suppose.
Okay.
I moved it. I usually do this work under I have a standing magnifying glass, so I don't have to, because I like to see my lines are exact, and I don't know really. Where's there's magnifying glass here. Yeah. Because when you look at it through here, you see your mistakes. But of course, then you can't see what I'm doing. So.
A bit lower. Okay, sorry.
There.
Okay.
Of course, I'm having to hold my pencil far away from what I normally do, because the nearer to the point, the more control you have. But because of the camera, I have to work it in a different way.
We're coming back soon. Okay.
Yeah, that's right. I probably put just a little color here and there just to liven it up, but not too much. And then you have to go back and see what you've done. But obviously this is it's not much of show how I work, because I've done most of the work at home, because I want to show you something else. I left everything simple here. I don't want to do it very complicated, because when you do things very complicated, then I have to put quite a lot of layers on it, and I'm going to be here until midnight. And a piece of work like this, I think the simpler it stays, the better it is, because it gives the message what it is, that it is a piece of wood and is old and is gnarled, and it just shows you what it is. It's a piece of very clean work. So I don't want to do any more on it. I would really love to do it a bit darker here, but this is quite I think I'm going to leave it at that. Because you can get carried away, and I don't want to do that. This is a piece of work where you don't really need any artistic license. Yes?
What do you mean?
Artistic license to put things that are not really there, and nothing to do with the plant. Yes.
Just to make it clear for the student.
Yes, yes. You have an artistic license. Of course, if you do some a flower, let's say a flower painting, and you think another leaf would be nice, or a different shape would be nice. But on this one, there isn't anything else, so I mustn't put anything else. Although it probably look better, or it could often make it worse as well. Because even by doing this, when you go around walking, you will recognize the plant that I've done it from. Although I don't know what it is because I didn't have time to look up what it is. So it has, I can give you, did one piece of this plant went round, because I've got some here. I think it's in here. Yeah. You will recognize what it is. I didn't put different colors because they were not. These ones, I put water on them this morning, and I can show you. This one became green, yeah. But the one I'm working on, I put water at the same time, and it didn't. I suppose, does it show?
Yeah.
Green? It doesn't show that. You can see it's green. No, it doesn't really.
You can see it's a bit
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can see that it's a bit
green.
You can see it's gone green. Yes, it's the chlorophyll, really. But if I put it on here, because I know it's here, it's going to be wrong. This hasn't got much green, full stop. And that's when so yes, I was showing this earlier on, how beautiful it is. You know, you can do some beautiful art out of it, and it's cheap. It doesn't, and of course it doesn't go bad either. Look at it, how the look. It's just so nice. Yes, this is gone green as well, but this one, I had it in water and it's just refusing to do that. So, yeah, there one. So, yes. And it's got a darker, of course it was a different plant, so it's a darker. And you don't use your hands to clean your paper, because it's so tempting, and then you regret it. So it's easier not to. I think this is a makeup brush from somewhere, and you do that because it's better. So really, here it is. I'm tempted to do more, because then you start fiddling, and when you fiddle, you know what happens. That's right. Maybe I can do. It's like watching paint dry, isn't it? When somebody's doing this, you know.
So you're really very light touch.
Yes, so you can put a lot of layers, and at the same time you can erase it. If you go like this, then that's it, finish, say goodbye to it, you make a mistake. So I think it's finished. I could do more, but then I could spoil it as well. So I'm going to leave that. You see, now I keep finding things that I could do. But normally I would do it with a magnifying glass over my desk, and my hands are free, and I can see every bit of it. Because if your work is going to be expanded, you're going to see irregularities, and it's not good. Some people don't mind, but I do. So when you finish a piece of work, you go over it with a magnifying glass, so you can clean all around it. And
because also your work sometimes could be made into posters.
Yes.
So like by scanning it and then expanding it.
Yes, they do that without my permission, and the first time I saw them bigger, I was very disappointed. The ones in Amiendos, I do have some thoughts of getting the poster done and throwing it out, and then I think I'll get into trouble with the police, so I stopped me doing it. I wrote several letters to them, and Mr. Tsindidis says, yes, we'll move it. It looks like a supermarket piece, but still. So, Yes, the ends are nice. So yes, you can keep improving it really, but I don't want to. So this is just with two pencils, two graphite pencils, and a couple of 3 pencils of color pencils, and then you have this piece of work. And whether you like it, it may not be your cup of tea. Yes, it's on the floor. What do you? Well, I'm not going to ask what you think, but anyway.
Could we have a look of the specimen and the drawing together?
Yes, you can see it, but of course I changed it a bit because
Yeah,
there.
But just to like get an idea of.
It's a shadow, isn't it? And of course, it's the way I had it. You see, I had it differently. Yes. This is the shadows. Yeah. There, you see, you have the yes, and it looks more orange there now. Yes. So, yeah. Yeah. So I can carry on to do it exactly what it is, but if I'm going to spoil it really, so I think the less is better, and you can always add to it. And this is done on drafting film. Yes, everybody. Yes, and I brought some samples of my paper. Yes. What else would you like me to do? Is it time? I don't know.
The thick one or the thin one?
The drafting paper comes in 3 thicknesses.
No, but in your samples you have the first one, which is a bit plastic, and then you have
That's the one, because the other one is not. The other one is tracing paper. The tracing paper, that's right, yes. And how I trace things, if it's on the computer, I turn it back to front, on the other side. Or if I do it then, if I do a drawing, and I have it on my layout paper and I'm happy with it, then I put the tracing paper on top and I draw it. And then I have to turn it round. I think we used to do that at school. I turn it round and then I redraw it on a piece of paper. Yes, that's how I learned to do it. Yes. Yes. Or sometimes I simply draw straight on the paper I'm going to draw, if it's not complicated. If it's complicated, I don't do it because I'll have to really erase it.
Matches from the tracing paper, and then you can cut the thing.
No, where are those samples? No, they're not. There is no, you don't mean.
We're going around.
Is it going around? No, it is. Is it there?
The paper?
Paper?
The paper? Yeah, can you think?
Yes.
Yeah. Here.
Yes. You see, the tracing paper,
Do you want to show it?
you can, yes, you show it's written on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is the tracing paper?
Yes, that's right, yes. A tracing paper is cheap paper, and that is to do exactly what it says, to trace paper. And the thinner, the better. When I started, I thought I'll buy myself a very good one, thick one. Well, of course, it's no use. So you have to use the thinnest one because then you can do it. You see, the tracing paper, you can tear it. The other one, no, you can't because it's a plastic. It's a drafting film. It is plastic. Yes. And when I put some layers on it, it will only take so much, and then I have to turn it the other way around. So your tracing paper that has your work is useful because you turn it around as well to do it. So you have to do that. So these are the papers I would normally use. So this is a pen and ink that I decided to put some color on it. This one here that I did, this is color pencil. And I decided that it was too grainy and I was going to do it softer. So, is there anything you want me to do? Or we finished? So.
Thank you. Thank you.